Okay, the 5345 counter is running. Some extremely important operating notes. AC line voltage max of 115. At 120 plus, the unregulated supplies are considerably high. So it doesn't like my 120 to 126 line volts. So variac. Had problem with stability on the counter. Had a real serious problem with, pardon me for a second, with the back panel frequency standard output. That's an output from the internal 10 megahertz standard to synchronize other equipment. Inside there is a differential amp and 3 driver transistors, and 1 driver transistor feeds a matching network in this port. It is mandatory to have a terminating load on that port at all times. It's not in the manual. Don't leave it unterminated. Very bad. The way I found this is that on the counter, when the unit started up cold, there was a reading 10 megahertz close, a little unstable as you might expect for a cold unit, but then the reading would vanish. I verified it wasn't a loose cable. I restarted it, turned it back on. If I would flip it to external and back, then the count would disappear. If I would restart the unit and let it warm up, the counter would disappear. This was because there was not a 50 ohm termination on that output line on the rear panel. When I put a 50 ohm load on it, it works great. In the scope, without a 50 ohm load, the waveform is severely distorted. So a counter can't count that sine wave as badly distorted. When I put it into the 1 meg ohm scope, bad distortion. When I put a 50 ohm load on it, then into the 1 meg ohm scope, perfect. Right dead on 10, just a slight error. So 50 ohm termination. And on the back panel, again, frequency standard output, many circuits B and C load, all times, not just when using or not using the source for external. The reason for that is that inside is a driver transistor, a matching network, and a diode and a Zener in there on that external reference output signal. There's a Zener clamp so that when that port is open, it limits the voltage. Well, obviously something in there is heating up and causing severe distortion. So that's very bad. So all the regulated power supplies were right on. The unregulated were about 2.8 volts high, and setting the variac to 113 fixed that. So right on the count. So close it isn't worth talking about. And no realignment. So there it is, onto the frequency extension module, KBYP, dit dit.